Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to begin our ceremonies. I'm Deborah Gonzalez. I'm the superintendent of Phoenix Elementary, and it is my great pleasure to have you all here for a very serious ceremony welcoming our new governing board members who have been elected for the swearing-in ceremony. So Phoenix #1 is the first public school district. And in fact, we know that Phoenix #1 was a school district before Arizona was even a state. So for 153 years, we've been serving students in the public interest. We have outstanding students, families, staff, and of course, public officials who care desperately about the success of students in this district. And it's a great honor and privilege to be able to work together to disrupt what has been traditional patterns of behavior in urban centers. So thanks to the leadership of our governing board, our cabinet, our principals, and our family and community members, we're here today to celebrate a governance structure that is really focused on student achievement and student outcomes so that we do disrupt those traditional patterns of achievement. Whoops. And I'm going to pay better attention to the direction of the arrows. Our community elects board members. They spend countless hours prior to this moment out at knocking on house doors, talking to families in the community to understand what the needs are and what the perspectives of our community are as they come forward to lead. Once the governing board is elected, they hire a superintendent. That's how I got my job. I oversee the day-to-day process of running the district. The governing board oversees the policy management and the fiscal responsibility, and they evaluate and hire the superintendent. The superintendent's day-to-day relations depend on the work that the governing board guides us through, but it is the day-to-day operations of making sure that our communications are clear, that our student achievement is high, and that our staff are taken care of, and that we are being responsive to the communities and that the schools are maintained as beautiful structures that our students can feel safe in and excited to learn in. So Phoenix #1, here's a little quick and dirty cheat sheet of Phoenix #1's stats. More than 5,200 students are in our district, including our preschool through 8th grade groups. We have nearly 300 preschool students. Nearly 39% of students come from outside our district. We are a destination district for many. We have 14 schools, 12 are Title schools, and Title is a federal designation that's based on free and reduced lunch counts. One is a preschool, and one is the only free public K-8 Montessori program. 88% of our students do receive free and reduced lunch, which is why we're designated as a Title program. 18% of our students qualify as English language learners, and 13 different languages are spoken in our schools. Diverse student population includes almost 79% Hispanic, 10% Black or African American, 5.8, almost 6% are considered white, 2.4% are considered 2 or more races, and 2.1 represent our Native population, and less than 1% are made up by our Asian populations. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our governing board vice president, who's going to, here's our attendance map, but I'm going to call up our vice president, Ms. Carmen Trujillo, who's going to walk us through the responsibilities of the governing board.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Carmen Trujillo. I'm currently in my second term of our governing board, so I'm really excited to be here to be alongside our board in this ceremony. So for this part, we wanted to share a little bit about our role as school board members. School boards are comprised of elected officials. They are the guardians of and policymakers for our nation's schools. and they are responsible for delivering on the promise of public education. School governors should establish coherent, attainable outcomes that reflect the community vision for education in a democracy. Phoenix number 1 is committed to a governance model focused on student outcomes so that the promise of public education and the opportunity it provides for our students and their families is fully realized. Phoenix number 1 has gone through a process. We've adopted clear goals for student outcomes. We've adopted guardrails to guide the superintendent and the team in achieving those goals, and the board guardrails to manage our own behavior. These goals and guardrails are regularly reviewed in public meeting to evaluate our progress in achieving our stated outcomes. The Phoenix number 1 governing board strives to speak with one voice in attaining the adopted goals and guardrails, which means we want to have a collaborative relationship with our community. Thank you all. I'll give it over to President Bueno now.
Hello, well, thank you everyone for joining us today on our swearing-in ceremony. Before I get into our board accomplishments, just want to reintroduce myself. I'm Jessica Bueno, Board President of Phoenix Elementary School District Number 1. I'm going to be sworn in today for my second term, so that means next year I'll be starting my 5th year in this work. But I did want to just acknowledge our students that we have in the audience. If you can please stand up. Thank you so much for being part of the our students are 7th and 8th graders from each one of our sites. As you learned, we have 14 schools, so they represent our students. They get to meet with our superintendent, Dr. Gonzalez, to hear concerns about what they want to see in their classroom, what they want their experience to be as a student, and really just thankful that we're able to get direct feedback from our students. Today, they were here earlier giving input around our Reimagine. This is what we've been working on these last couple of months around going out to the community to understand what do we want our facilities to look like, our schools. We need our schools to represent the technology and, state-of-the-art facilities is what our students deserve. And they are able to give input on what they wanted to see their facilities look like, classroom learning, subjects. I heard we want fine arts, right? That's what I heard. Want some fine arts, not so much focus on sports. But I'm so glad that you all are able to give us that feedback, and thank you for being so responsive to it, to you and your team. But I wanted just to explain what we've been working on these last 4 years. I know you were introduced to our school district. As you can see, our boundaries are downtown Phoenix. So Thomas on the north side, the Rio on the south side, from the I-17 on the west to 16th Street on the east. As you can see, we have a big geographic area. But what's more important is who we serve and our students. As you may know and have learned, we're the first institute in Arizona, and that means that what Phoenix and the state of Arizona have become today has been at the sacrifice of our community. And this is why it's very important for us to advocate for our students, because we have the highest in the city of Phoenix, we have the highest concentration of public housing. So our children will always be born in poverty, and it's our responsibility to help them have their foundational education so they can be ready for high school and higher education. So this is why myself and my colleagues take our responsibility very serious, because we know that we are the representation of our community, and we're really have that vision and focus to serving our students. So I will take you down a little journey. These last 4 years, they have not been easy. They're not going to get any easier. Starting next year, as you all may know, where this country is going to face a lot of difficulties, and our responsibility is going to be protecting our students. But I started my journey in 2020. I was elected by the community, and in 2021 is when we were sworn in January. We're sworn in January 7th of 2021, so that was a very crazy day. But what I would hear during that time and during being in COVID was, it's never a good time to want to lead and be on a school board. And, being in a pandemic is much worse. So we came in to serve in this capacity virtually. We could not meet in person. So in 2021, we celebrated that we turned 150. So we had a big celebration at Hans Park. All our schools were there. But it was like really honoring, how far we've come over these last 150 years. And during the pandemic, we were also the first elementary school district to mandate masks. At the time, our students were not eligible for vaccinations, and we knew that wearing masks was the only way to protect our students and the multi-generational households that they live in. So even in our board meetings, we were actively tracking the COVID numbers, the cases, which communities by zip codes were being impacted the most. I think over the monitoring of that, the biggest area was 85004, which is right smack in the middle of downtown, which is a ASU campus, and they always had very high rate cases, and really did not allow us to open schools because we were monitoring how contagious our community was. So we held the line with reporting the cases and actively providing the COVID testing. We implemented a lot of staff policies to help, when they got sick. And then also, myself and Vice President Trujillo led the Political Action Committee for Phoenix Elementary, so that way we can go out to our voters and pass our maintenance and operation override of $60 million. These are the types of monies that we have to go out to our community in order for us to be able to build new schools, to pay our teachers, to get all the supports necessary for all our students. And so that was 2021. We did it. 2022, we hired a new superintendent. Again, we went out to our voters and were able to pass a $97 million bond that will help us build new schools and provide security measures. And on that same ballot, we put up 5 properties that are not operated as schools, but are valuable properties that now we can go and have a long-term lease with different entities and just be able to provide more services to our community, not just by having a vacant school building leased to an entity, but something that's going to serve our communities and wraparound services. So that's what we did in 22, and then we started working on our student outcomes focused governance. So you can see on the wall by the projector, we have all our board goals, we have our superintendent guardrails and our board guardrails. And so we started this process to learn how this framework works, how us as school board members can study this framework and implement it. And luckily in 2023, we were able to implement our SOFG governance model with fidelity. And another victory in 2023, just last year, we were actually able to we went through a whole compensation study to help determine the inequities that were happening amongst our staff. And we were able to adopt equity adjustments for salaries. So I forgot to put the number of the actual number for our teachers. I think it was 67,000 is the average now with teachers. It's been 2.3% increase over these last couple of years. So equity was always a frame of mind for us, and we were really glad that we were able to advance and adjust people's salaries. And then we purchased 2 of many now electric school buses. So as we know, the air pollution in our community is really bad because of all the highways that we have in our neighborhoods. And by purchasing electric buses, we're able to help clean up that air pollution. And then lastly, this year, what we've been up to, we launched our Night of Inspiration. That's our staff award ceremony. So within the staff groups, they nominate, different individuals that they want to be honored. And it was such a great night. We had a red carpet and everything. It was really fun. So thank you for that, Dr. Gonzalez. That was her idea. And then we, progress monitored our board goals. And out of the 5 goals, our English language learners were the ones to hit their goal. And that's very big accomplishment. So I think, all our staff that helped our English language learners. And we oversaw the selection of new curriculum in our English language arts to support student outcomes. So it's just a little quick snapshot of what we've been up to. But I just also want to recognize and thank everybody's hard work in the room, staff. We've been through a lot these couple of years, but the right team and the right people, I'm just confident to say that everybody in this district is here for the right reasons. They care for our children. They want to keep our children safe. And that's anything more than I could ask for is, to help our students to reach their potential. So thank you for everybody that's here. Appreciate it. Now we're going to just start off with our oath. Oops, I'm supposed to do this. Okay. Our oath and affirmation of office. So Vice President Trujillo will be swearing us in.
You guys can be heard on the live stream. Awesome. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Thank you, President Bueno, for the transition. Again, welcome and thank you to everybody here joining us today. It's a great honor to offer the following oath or affirmation to complete this super important task in your school board leadership here at Phoenix L. So quick note, regarding the oath or affirmation, there are two parts that there will be a choice to make. One in the beginning is between using the word swear or affirm, and the other between using the name God or the words so I do affirm. So I ask that you please choose whichever is most appropriate for you and state that, just the words that you choose and not the choice presented. With that said, we'll move on. If you could raise your right hand for me and please repeat after me. State of Arizona, County of Maricopa. State of Arizona, County of Maricopa. I, please state your name. I, Alicia Banks. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of Governing Board Member in Phoenix Elementary School District Number 1, according to the best of my ability. So help me God, or so I do affirm. With that, please allow me to congratulate and welcome our 3 incoming governing board members for the 2025 year through 2029. Thank you all very much for being here. So please, everyone, join us for some treats, refreshments in celebration of today's ceremony. And I ask that the 3 incoming board members quickly meet with Mrs. Valencia to complete your notarized oath of office or affirmation documentation. Thank you. Thank you.